First, I'd like to welcome everybody back. It's been a long time and our first in-person meeting in more than a year. There are some people I haven't seen in quite a while. You know, although many of us are once again in the same room, in consideration of the ongoing COVID-19 health concerns, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if that's preferred. And we do have one of our council members who is out of town and participating through Zoom. Instructions on how to participate virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed under missionks.org. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Audrey, would you please call roll?
Schlossmacher. Thomas. Boltinghouse.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Rothrock. Here. Inman. Here. Kring. Here. And Flora. Here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to item 1 of our agenda, which is public hearings. We do not have any public hearings tonight, so we'll move on to special presentations. First up, earlier this year, in honor of the city's 70th birthday, Mission hosted our very first If I Were a Mayor contest. Students from kindergarten through the 5th grade were asked to think about what it means to be a city leader and to share their ideas on a poster. We were very lucky to have many talented young artists, and we were very impressed by their creativity and all the ways they plan to help those in our community. Your kindness and compassion is something to be very, very proud of. The contest winners were highlighted in the most recent issue of the Mission magazine, and tonight I'm excited to recognize them in person. So this year's selected posters came from, first up, Cora was our 1st grade winner, whose vision for Mission encourages recycling and future trees with green spaces. So Cora, would you please come up?
You all want it? Well, yeah, you can bring anybody you want to up here. So, yeah, just right here is great. We'll get kind of a bigger picture. So, turn your poster around so everybody can see it. So, Cora shared with us her vision for a clean city, but she also has bikes, and trash, and blue sky, and I'm assuming parks and green space, right? All of those things that are important to us. So, thank you for participating and congratulations. If you want to just stick right here.
All right, next up is Mila, a 3rd grade student who recognizes the importance of equality in community programs and services. Mila, please come up.
It's very humbling. To see the poster.
All right.
So this is Mila. Come on, Mila, come on up here. So Mila's poster focused on litter control and encouraging equality and creating community programs that teach our citizens equality, inclusion in their everyday life.
Excellent.
Our 4th grade winner is Anna, and she aims to help not only schools and veterans, but also provide care for food and necessities to people and animals in the community.
You guys up here better watch out. So we talked about, again, and one of the things I love about Anna's poster was just the attention to detail, whether it was the signals and the crosswalks, creating a space where people who may have needs have an opportunity to go and have this instead. So thank you very much.
And finally, Charlotte, a fifth grader who outlined an ambitious plan for COVID safety, parks, stopping discrimination, and much, much more. Is Charlotte here this evening? Come on.
Mayor. Uh-oh.
There was one, in fact, they all better watch out. Let me borrow just a minute, I'll hit some of the highlights. Put more trash bins everywhere, green land, green spaces. Grocery stores not wasting so much food, just because the food is not perfect. Again, the mayor mentioned COVID safety, but when COVID is over, people would still wear masks for a little bit to help keep themselves safe. Dealing with diversity and inclusion, creating a library, so encouraging people to read more books and more benches, more trees, picking up your dog poop, always an important reminder. Additional bike parking and putting parks and so much more. So we look forward to you sharing more ideas with us in the future, and congratulations.
All right, so each of our winners got a certificate and a $100 gift card. So congratulations to our 2021 contest winners, and a special thank you to all those who participated by submitting an entry this year. We look forward to seeing those big ideas take shape and help our community. So thank you very, very much. All right, our next item is the Building Safety Month proclamation. This recognizes May as Building Safety Month. Thank you to our staff and consultants who work to ensure that our homes, buildings, and infrastructure are structurally sound and safe for all those that use them. Also, a big thanks to our neighborhood services and community development staff who work to keep our neighborhoods well-maintained, provide assistance to those in need, and administer the various programs that we have that work to bring our neighborhoods together. So thank you to all of our community development folks. Next, we have National Police Week proclamation. This acknowledges May 9th through the 15th as National Police Week in Mission. Even though the official observance has passed, I'm honored to present our police department with a proclamation recognizing their service and commitment to our community. Thank you to all of our officers who keep us safe, that work with our students, and help our business community. Chief Madden, please accept this proclamation on behalf of your department. Right. Don't have it in here. National. I'm gonna give you the right one. There we go. Congrats. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
And our next proclamation is for National Public Works Week. This proclamation recognizes our Public Works Department for the important work that they do for our city by designating May 16th through the 22nd as Public Works Week in Mission to coincide with the national observance. We rely on them to maintain our infrastructure, which we talked about a lot tonight, and they are second to none when it comes to cleaning our streets and roads of snow, keeping our city well lit, and managing important infrastructure projects. We present this proclamation to Public Works Director Celia Duran and extend our thanks to the entire Public Works team. Thank you, Celia.
Thank you.
You got your steps in. So that concludes item 2 on our agenda. Moving on to item 3, issuance of notes and bonds. We do not have any items related to the issuance of notes and bonds this evening. So we'll move on to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda does have 4 items on it this evening. Our council committees met on May 5th and fully discussed each of these items. The committees agreed that the items listed under our consent agenda are routine enough to be considered under a single motion. Other items considered by the committees will be presented under the committee reports later on in our agenda tonight. If a council member or a member of the public would like any item removed from the consent agenda, now would be the time to make that request. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move the city council adopt the consent agenda as printed, items 4A through 4D.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Flora,
Aye.
Boltinghouse,
Aye.
Inman. Kring,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schlosmacher. Thomas.
Aye.
And Rothrock.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes item 4. Moving on to item 5, public comments. If any member of the public would like to make a comment on an item that's not included on this agenda, now would be the time to make that request. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comments in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak, and we will call on you shortly to make your comments verbal. Please remember your comments are visible to everyone at the meeting. Is there any member of the public that would like to make a statement that's not on the agenda? Please come forward to our lectern and give us your name and city, please. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Carpenter.
I have brought up the cleanliness of the locker rooms for over 2 months now to each and every one of you, and you've done nothing about it. You started working on the grout and only in 2 showers. That is still not done to this day. Your locker rooms were closed down for over a year, and you guys did not touch them. They were not clean. They were left to be. Laura Smith, been here 16 years, knows they needed work done to them. Did not touch them. So today, 2 hours ago, I went in the locker room. I come out of the steam room. This come off the ramp going into the pool. I just cleaned a little area. That's only a small fraction of what's there. So what else do we have here? Just another rag come off the steam room floor. This come off the floor in the locker room, just off a small section. See what else we got? That come off around the lazy river, around the middle of it. Hasn't been touched in over a year. Filthy dirty. This here come off the stairs of the hot tub where you walk into the hot tub. Filthy dirty. What are you going to do about it? I've asked for 2 months for you to just go in and clean it. It has not been touched in 2 months. Why are you letting this happen? I talked to each and every one of you, except for Miss Flora, that's going to be running for mayor, that says you can call her for anything. She never answered my phone call. So what are you going to do about it? You're the only one that I know that actually come up and looked at it.
Does that conclude your remarks, Mr. Carpenter?
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
I'd like to know why the pool shut down from 11 to 3 every day. That'd be fine if they was actually cleaning something, but they're not cleaning anything. And over the weekend, Friday or Sunday, you had 45 people in here for a party at the pool with one lifeguard. Do you think that is safe? And you just preach these kids about being safe and stuff like that. That's great, but you ought to walk the walk. The adult lounge, why is it not open? The CDC gave you guidelines. The people that have been vaccinated are fine. And the majority of the people who come in here from till 3 o'clock have been vaccinated. A lot of these seniors do not have a spouse at home anymore, and they go in there and communicate with other people. As far as I'm concerned, at this point, that's senior abuse on all your parts. So why is that happening? And another problem I got, the kids come in here to play basketball. They don't belong here, they're not members, and you charge them $5. Why? When you gave away $15,000 over the summer to help people with their rent. Let's take care of the kids that come here before we worry about everybody else, if we're gonna give away money. And Laura said it was more of a cosmetic issue in the locker rooms that, she'd like, well, we don't have the money to tear it down, which they don't need to be torn down. They just need to be cleaned. And at this point, it's going to have to be done by hand because you guys didn't keep up with it. And it's been going on for years. She's been here 16 years, and her email to me says it's been a traumatic problem all this time. Well, why hasn't she come up with a solution and taken care of it? Do you have an answer for that?
We're here to listen to your comments,
And-
and we're not going to have a debate.
And Penn, you hired him. That's his job to take care of it. He's the one that should have took care of it last year. He had nothing else to do. All he had to do is go in there and get the people out around the Parks and Recreation, get in there and clean it, fix the grout, and it'd be done. I shouldn't be here standing here right now saying anything. I'm a taxpayer, admission. I paid to come here, me and my wife, and it's filthy dirty in those locker rooms. Why? You still haven't answered my question. I asked that 2 months ago. That was the main question. Why was it not taken care of when it was shut down for a whole year? And none of you have answered that question. Why is that? None of you, several of you said you didn't call me back, never called me back, and you never take care of it. You council members are the ones that are supposed to take care of this problem. I brought it to your attention 2 months ago. Why is it not taken care of? And thing is, it's a very easy fix. It's not hard. I own a cleaning company, so I know it's not a hard problem. It's just that you're not taking care of it. You're not maintaining the public's building. So get on it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Anybody else have comments from the public on items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, action items from the Planning Commission. We do not have any items from the Planning Commission, so we'll move on to our committee reports. Councilmember Kring, will you please provide a report from the Finance and Administration Committee?
Thank you, Can you hear me? Thank you, Mayor. The Finance and Administration Committee met on May 5th and considered a total of 4 items. The acceptance of the meeting minutes were approved under the consent agenda, and there are 3 additional items to consider on the regular agenda tonight. First is a presentation and approval of the 2020 audit. The audit for the 2020 fiscal year was conducted by Burbick, Trahan and Company, PA, certified public accountants. The auditors worked in conjunction with city staff to prepare and audit the comprehensive financial statements of the City of Mission for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020. The audit includes examining on a test basis evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements, assessing the accounting principles used, and significant estimates made by management, as well as an evaluation of the overall basic financial statement presentation. The city received a clean or unqualified audit for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, GFOA, awarded a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the city for its 2019 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, CAFR. This was the 27th consecutive year the city received this award, which is earned by publishing an easily readable and efficiently organized CAFR. The report must also satisfy both generally accepted accounting principles and applicable legal requirements. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council accept the audited financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Inman. Flora.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Rothrock. Schlesmacher. Davis
Aye.
and Thomas.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item, Mayor, is a special event application to Young Life of Shawnee Mission. Young Life Shawnee Mission submitted a special event application for an event on Saturday, June 5th, 2021 from 5 to 10 p.m. The event will be on city property at 5935 Beverly, which is Beverly Park, as well as the adjacent parking lot at 5945 Beverly. This will be a ticketed fundraising event for the organization and will include barbecue, live music, and alcohol sales. The applicant has received approval and their temporary alcohol permits from the Kansas Department of Revenue for both locations. Also, Young Life will be using only a licensed food truck vendor, so no further inspection is required. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council approve the special event application for Young Life's Shawnee Mission to host a fundraising event at 5935 and 5945 Beverly on Saturday, June 5th, 2021 from 5 to 10 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Inman. Flora.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
And Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
And last is the modification to the development schedule for the Mission Bowl redevelopment agreement. The preliminary development plan for the proposed Mission Bowl Apartments project at 5399 Martway was approved in December 2020, along with the tax increment financing project plan and the redevelopment agreement. The project's developers have been working to complete the final development plan to be considered by the Planning Commission. This plan provides important details such as the exact building location, necessary improvements, parking, landscaping, lot access, and other amenities. The project site also has the Martway lift station located at the low point of the Rock Creek watershed. The lift station is critical to the overall operations of the sanitary sewer system, and it is imperative that Johnson County wastewater has access for weekly chemical delivery, as well as routine maintenance and cleaning. The developers, architects, and engineers have been working with the JCW on alternate routes and ways to provide access that meet the needs of both parties, which has resulted in an approximate 3-month delay. As a result, the developers have requested an extension of time to the development schedule outlined in Exhibit C of the redevelopment agreement. During the committee meeting, several members inquired about written confirmation from JCW that they were comfortable with the current design solution. Mr. Scott did receive an email confirmation that JCW has approved the plans as revised. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council approve the resolution granting an extension of time for performance of the development schedule for construction of the Mission Bowl Apartments.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none.
Actually, one
Oh,
thing.
go ahead, Nick.
I think it's something that I'm going to support. This was an unforeseen circumstance that came up as we started to look into uses of the wastewater back there. But I know we talked about it a little bit on the work session. I think this is kind of a one-time thing in my opinion. I know it kind of came up unexpectedly, but hopefully we won't be back here. And I don't think that we'll be back here in a few months, but just hopefully we're not back here in 3 to 6 months with with some other unforeseen delays. And I don't believe that to be the case, but just wanted to call that out. That I think this is really kind of a one-time exception. And we did discuss that at the last work session too.
Anybody else? Seeing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Flora,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schlesmacher,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Boltinghouse,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Inman, and Kring.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Flora, will you please provide a report from the Community Development Committee?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Community Development Committee also met on May 5th and considered 4 items. Items approved under the consent agenda included the acceptance of the committee minutes, the contract with Superior Bowen for construction of the 2021 street preservation project, construction inspection services agreement with Peppercorn Engineering and Environmental LLC for construction inspection services for the 2021 street preservation project, and the purchase of bulk de-icing salt from Central Salt LLC. There are no additional items for consideration tonight, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 8, unfinished business. We do not have any unfinished business this evening, so we'll move on to item 9, new business. First up on new business, under new business, we did add one, the compensation study. We did add that to our end of new business. But starting out would be election of committee chairs and vice chairs. We'll start with our Community Development Committee first and vote on the chairperson, take nominations and vote on the chairperson, and then we'll take nominations and vote on the vice chairperson. Then we'll do the same for the Finance and Administration. I would now open the floor for nominations for Community Development Committee Chair.
Mayor,
Yes, Ken.
I nominate Trent Boltinghouse for position of Community Development Committee Chairperson with a term expiring May 18th, 2022.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, please call the vote. Audrey.
Schlesmacher. Rothrock.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Inman. Davis
Aye.
and Flora.
aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
All right, I would now open the floor for nominations for the CDC vice chairperson.
Mayor,
Yes,
I nominate Ken Davis for the position of Community Development Committee Vice Chairperson with a term expiring May 18th, 2022.
we have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Kring.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
And Inman. Motion carried.
All right, moving on. We'll now take nominations for Finance and Administration Committee Chair.
Mayor,
Yes, Ken.
Mayor, I nominate Debbie Kring for position of Finance Administration Committee Chairperson with a term expiring May 18th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Inman. Thomas.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
And Davis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, I will now take nominations for the Finance and Administration Committee Vice Chair.
Mayor,
Ken.
Mayor, I nominate Kristen Inman for the position of Finance and Administration Committee Vice Chairperson with a term expiring May 18th, 2022.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Schlesmacher. Rothrock.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Crane,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
and Flora.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. Congratulations to our new committee chairs and vice chairs. Final item under new business is the classification and compensation study. I think it would be appropriate, even though we discussed it in detail earlier, if you just give a very brief overview, and then I would take a motion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Oh, there I am, rejoined. On March 24th, and then again this evening, we presented some recommendations for reclassifications, both coming forward from an Austin Peters group, who was recommendation and report and review of our overall classification and compensation system that occurred late in 2020. Those positions, reclassifications were detailed. We are looking at then taking forward the reclassifications and costing out a formal implementation proposal and schedule for council approval and consideration. But as we looked at those reclassifications, we would seek approval at this point to move forward with that structure so that we can most effectively cost out and bring back for your reconsideration those final dollar amounts. So this would be a change in the structure and the titles. And then we would hopefully in the next couple of months, as we move through the budget, come back and bring you that final cost proposal.
All right, thank you. So as I mentioned, we did discuss this in detail in our work session and in a previous work session. I would now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that the reclassification recommendations presented on March 24th and May 19th be approved, with the understanding that staff will bring forward an implementation plan, including costs at a future date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, Audrey, please call for the vote.
Thomas,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Flora,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Inman, Crane,
Aye.
Schlesmacher,
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
All right, that concludes item 9. Moving on to item 10, comments from the city council. This is an opportunity for comments from our council members. Does anyone have anything they would like to share? RC.
Oh,
RC, then Trent.
Tomorrow night, Nick and I have a Ward 2 council meeting at 7 o'clock, Sushi Karma. And then also on the 27th, we have a Mission Community Food Pantry event. And again, on the 29th with the Harvesters Mobile Distribution. So rain or shine.
All right, Trent.
I just wanted to express my gratitude to my colleagues on the governing body for my nomination and acceptance tonight for the new chair. And sorry I couldn't be there with you in person, and look forward to rejoining in June. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trent. Anybody else? Nick?
I would just like to, I'd like to mention that I think we need to revisit some of the new CDC guidance that came out last week for our upcoming meetings and reconsider the mask policy that we have in place now that we've got new information based on the science that they've recommended that people that are vaccinated no longer need to wear a mask. I think that we should look to allow that. People that want to certainly can, and people that aren't vaccinated should be highly recommended that they do. But at the end of the day, I think the CDC has given pretty clear guidance on that now it really should be up to a person's choice on whether they need to or not if they've been vaccinated. And I'd like to see us follow that at our upcoming meetings. And frankly, at the rest of the city buildings as much as possible too.
Buildings.
Just throughout the rest of the city buildings as well.
All right, anybody else? Ken?
Yes, I would just like to say that I support Nick's proposal. And I think that we can look at this again in terms of those who are vaccinated on an honor basis and be able to participate without a mask.
All right, anybody else? All right, hearing none, we will move on to the mayor's report. I just want to reiterate, when we do have members of the public that come and make comment, it's not a debate. It's for them to voice their concerns or praise or whatever they have. Mr. Carpenter had numerous items that he mentioned. I think it is our process to listen to those items. And I know he's communicated with us several times. And I know the city administrator has communicated back, but I would ask one more time, listen to his concerns. Let's address them one by one, and send a correspondence back to him and carbon copy the governing body, and respond to his concerns. All right, thank you. Moving on to the city administrator's report.
Just a couple of items. As we close out tonight's meeting, first, just thank you for being back in person, for working through the changes. We've practiced this setup a couple of times, and I think we still have some kinks to work out, but appreciate your patience in doing so. And if you have thoughts, reactions, questions, recommended changes or recommendations, which I heard some just now from Councilmember Schlossmacher, please feel free to share those with us as we look forward. We've been talking internally this week following the latest guidance from the CDC related to mask wearing for vaccinated individuals. One of the things I will tell you as we've talked about it and will continue to evaluate and recommend to the council is that we've worked very hard over this last year to not make that distinction necessarily in the performance of our public duties, to trying to figure out who's been vaccinated and who's not been vaccinated. So we'll look at that. We have some data. I know we implemented some of the changes, for example, allowing patrons to remove their masks while exercising or attending rental events in this facility. We've seen an uptick even in the week following that decision of, I think, about 20%. So we're seeing some positive changes, but really want to reevaluate that as a whole. I think some of the concerns that resulted in the recommendations that we brought forward at the last meeting are still valid, and that is we're about to bring about 100 children into this facility, and some of those other kinds of things. So we'll certainly look at that and come back with kind of what our recommendations are for council consideration. A couple of things, the financial reports, interim financial reports for April were included in your council packet. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we're going to move into really long, deep, budget discussions here in the next several months. But the Cliff Note version is sales tax continues to perform at, very well, on track with our projections that were not reduced. So we're pleased to see that. We're starting to see, again, it will be slow, but I think we'll start to see in the coming months some of that recovery in revenues here at the community center. And then we are getting more guidance in terms of rules and regulations each day. We still haven't seen our allocation from the American Rescue Plan Act, but I anticipate that will be coming through the state here in the fairly short term. And you recall, we're getting about 1.3, closer to $1.4 million through that allocation, half this year and half next year. So we'll continue again as a part of our budget discussion to be able to incorporate that. Just a reminder, because we'll have our committee meeting, but for the public's benefit, just a reminder that our Mission Market opens on June 3rd. So Thursday evenings, we hope everyone will join us at the market site. We had to kind of turn the volume down last year. We're hoping to be able to slowly start to turn that back up this year with live music and some additional things that we know that our residents and the visitors to our Mission Market have always enjoyed. Finally, the last thing I wanted to touch on is I know that there's been sort of some feedback and chatter on some of the social media channels about decisions and maybe some misinformation or misunderstanding about recommendations at the Outdoor Aquatic Center for the summer. So I wanted to just sort of highlight for you in this setting, kind of recap that decision and point out where I think there's been a little bit of misunderstanding. And then certainly we can work here in the next few days to get that out and try to clear that up as best we can with residents and folks. But obviously, we all know that our decision to close the impact last summer was a very difficult one, both for the council and the staff and for our community. And I think we made the right decision last summer, but it was also very clear that it was a top priority, that if there was the possibility to open it up this summer, that was something we needed to really work towards. Staff has spent considerable hours coming up with a plan for how we could safely open and operate the facility, not just for the public, but for our Mission Marlin swim team and our summer camp kids who use that pool as a significant part of their activities while they are here at camp. And it took a lot of planning, adjusting, reconsidering, accommodating, that seemed to kind of address all of those things in addition to COVID-19 concerns. And, part of our challenge is we've had to continue to move forward with operational decisions as, CDC requirements change, as mask orders and mask mandates at the countywide level or executive orders at the state level have expired. So we often don't have a tremendous amount of time or a lot of telegraphing about what direction we think things might be headed in. So our goal is and will continue to be as flexible as we can be in evaluating the data as it becomes available and either making adjustments on an administrative side or bringing forward those bigger policy decisions for you all. The reality still is, though, for the 2021 season, that we cannot accommodate as many patrons as we have historically in the past. So we have to still consider some, I think, reduction in capacity because there may or may not be vaccinated individuals at our pool based on the demographics at the pool and the fact that the vaccine isn't yet available to children. We know that probably the likelihood that, that unvaccinated population will be higher in that season. So by reducing the capacity, we still allow for opportunities for social distancing and giving people that ability to sort of manage and navigate their own potential health concerns. Our camp participants have been some of the heaviest users of the impact facility for years, and that's going to continue to be the case in 2021. But the camp program, as you all know, with what we presented, is also making some significant changes for this season. The plan is, as we presented it, that we will open the MFAC at noon each day. We will use that time period of noon to 3 p.m. to rotate our summer campers through in shifts. That is what we have done on a historical basis. They go early in the day. And then those campers are estimated to take about 80 spots of the 200 spots that will be available on the pool deck or in the pool area at any given time. So even if we had all of our camp kids there at one time, we would still have about 120 spots with our capacity considerations available to the general public. We spent a lot of time internally looking at historical usage patterns by people other than camp participants in that window. And there's not a lot of public that comes in that window, probably because there are oftentimes 100+ camp kids at the facility at the same time, right? I mean, I think there's probably some correlation there, but that decision was really based on, what we have seen pre-COVID in terms of, and we didn't want to reserve it exclusively for camp kids, but we feel like that, using a reservation system for those 120 slots and then opening up all 200 slots at 3 p.m. It basically keeps our pool in operation the same number of hours. There is some limited capacity, and certainly we can continue to evaluate that as we get into the season. But that's kind of why we made that decision in terms of limiting the numbers and that flexibility. And so not ever having used a reservation system before, I think it's can be a little bit confusing, and our staff and our public as well it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to. It's not a reservation system where once the other thing that we watched is, the time period that people tend to spend at the pool. So you have your reserved spot, but we're not going to go through and clear out the pool deck and kick people out because the next round of reservations is coming in. We believe, just based on our experience and evaluation of the data, that just through natural attrition, we have enough turnover that you can come, and if you wanted to stay the whole day at the pool, there's probably a space for you, to do that. One of the things that we've heard is a concern that with a reduction in hours, which that potentially there it could be perceived as that, but that we didn't make any reduction to our entry fees or annual membership fees. There's a couple of reasons I think that are primary drivers for not making that recommendation. Again, although somewhat limited, public access is still available during the same hours as we've offered in previous swim seasons. And regardless of what hours that we are operating, we know that the costs to operate our pool continue to escalate. And we have not increased our membership fees at the MFAC since 2015. So while we did not have the specific conversation, I think part of the concern is if we reduce now, no one will remember, that we haven't had that reduction, and no one will remember next year if we need to bring those back to, a level that is appropriate, kind of that benefit. So, I don't think that it's certainly not our priority to suggest that operating costs at the pool are the primary driver. I mean, in a good year, it takes us about $125,000 in subsidy to operate the outdoor pool. And that's a decision that not only this council, but councils, preceding you have felt like was a good investment in our community for quality of life and health benefits. And that obviously, again, hasn't changed. You all expressed very early on a priority to get our pool open if we could do that. We believe that the value that we're going to be able to provide in 2021 and being able to open our pool and offer that is worth the investment at that consistent membership rate. The other thing that is, as you know, that our attention has been really hyper-focused on being able to recruit and hire enough guards to even be able to open our facility. I am pleased to announce that, and maybe the numbers changed since yesterday. No? 8? Do you have, as of yesterday, we were within 8 of the number that we had targeted. So
10 saying 6.
So 2 weeks ago, we had hit the kind of watermark where we knew we would be able to open the facility. We've been continually adding to that, but you also know that competition for guards, including the pay for guards, has been really, really stiff between communities. So it's certainly been an accomplishment for our team to get to that point, to be able to allow us to do that. But that has certainly also added to our potential cost in operating the pool in this season. Again, this is the current plan. We haven't opened the pool yet. It's coming. And we expect we'll have to modify like we have at every other kind of decision point along the way over the last year when, if we see pinch points based on feedback, based on use patterns, based on any additional, public health guidance that may be coming out. And we're certainly committed to doing that. But I don't know if happy to try to answer any other questions, but that's sort of, I hope, paints a maybe clearer picture of, what we're doing and why we're doing that. And then again, we're happy to start to share that out to try to address some of those concerns that I know you all and we all are hearing publicly.
I have a question, Laura. I know some of the other cities, to try to manage their capacity, are limiting their facilities to residents only. Have we discussed that option?
We did, and I believe that the direction that the council gave us was that was not something you wanted to do specifically. Okay. We offered that up a couple of months ago as an option, and I think you wanted to, maintain that and leave that open. Now, again, that's certainly something we could revisit if we're seeing an overrun. But again, I feel like I think Penn and his staff have done a really tremendous job of going back and looking at the usage patterns, pre-COVID to try to guide the decisions and be as flexible as we can be.
Hillary?
Yeah, Laura, what is the capacity normally at the pool? I don't know. So we're going from 600 to 200?
Yes, but I would say what is our average attendance? And we'll look at that. Our average attendance is not, unless it's a swim meet day, was not 600 at any given time in that pool area.
Okay, yeah, I'd like more
Yeah.
information about the capacity and how we landed on that number and overall average attendance times. And then, is the swim team happening in the morning? Is that,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay, cool. And then what about the splash pad? It's a favorite of my girls. I'm curious what the time frame for the splash pad will be.
So similar, I believe that similar to what we've done is the splash pad is open when the pool is open, and you access during those pool hours the splash pad from inside the pool area.
Well, so last year it was different in that it was open to anyone and you could reserve a time slot. So I didn't know if.
Right. So
we're
we have the
reverting back
ability to
that.
open that up,
Sure.
from the exterior of the park. And we did that because we don't have to staff a splash pad. It doesn't require a guard to staff that, although we did staff it with a guard. I think it just still helps with some of the distancing requirements that were in place last year and other considerations. And so we would have that ability, but in the past, when the entire pool complex has been open, the access to, during the time that pool is open, the splash pad is open only by coming into the main pool area.
Okay, thanks.
I had a quick statement. We have the online reservations for the 200. I'd like to see a small, even if it's just 3 to 5 allotted for walk-ups, kids that are, home by themselves or anything like that. I'm not saying that if there's no walk-ups, we would just leave them if we hit capacity, but that would be nice. And then last thing is, a few summers ago, we were open in the morning, I think it was because of construction or something like that. So if there's, for some crazy reason, we have to do that again, I would support it once, twice, however many times, because swimming in the morning before noon is something that many of us like to do. So.
Okay. I do know that the staff has built the ability to not turn someone who walks up to the facility without a reservation away. They built in capacity to do that. So that's part of that consideration. So we won't be shooing people away when they come to the pool. We certainly, that is not something that we wanted to do.
Thank you.
Hillary?
Yeah, just one more comment. Just with the reduced capacity, I would just encourage to add as many specialty programs outside those regular hours that we could, the splash pad time for kiddos without having to be a member, or the, tan and float thing on Saturday mornings, just those specialty times to add a extra little something for folks that, end up having challenges with the registration process potentially.
And I think that we can certainly look that. I think that's going to be a balance of, again, the staffing, right? So primary goal is going to staff the regular operations. And then as we have the flexibility, if we can continue to add guards and add things back, then we can certainly look at doing that.
Debbie?
I just want to say thank you to Penn and his staff and Laura for your direction. This is bringing some normalcy back to this community, which it so deserves. And I really applaud all the efforts you've made to look at all the obstacles and the pros in getting things back to normal. And I truly appreciate it.
They have worked long and hard, both at getting that pool prepped and ready to open and thinking about how to operate it safely. So we appreciate that. And that's all I have under my report this evening, Mayor.
All right, thank you. That concludes item 12. Item 13 is executive session. We don't have a need for one this evening. So before we adjourn tonight, I want to share with the public that the video from this meeting will be available through a link on our website, missionks.org. There being no further business tonight, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, yes, Nick.
I just wanted to also say a special thank you to staff for setting this up and being able to have us all back here in person. I think this is another nice step, and it's good to get out of the house once in a while. So Thanks for all the work you guys have put in to set this up and allow us to continue both virtually and in person.
All right, a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.